Welcome to the workshop, everybody. Today we've got something really special in for you. Today we're going to be working on a Specialized Tarmac SL7. So what have we got going on? So first of all, obviously brakes are pretty much totally shot, both of them. I've measured the discs, they're both well below spec. So it's new discs and new pads all around, and obviously bedded in on the Sinter machine. Also in need of some fresh bar tape, obviously. We'll also be swapping out these chain rings for a slightly larger set. Customer has two sets, so depending where they travel with the bike, they fit the appropriate chain rings. So that's a crank out job, obviously. Apart from that, it's in really good shape, to be fair. I do service this bike on a fairly regular basis, so it's nice to see it back in again. Now let's crack on with these brakes. Take out 6mm through axle, drop the wheel through. Nice and easy, just a cassette removal tool. Just spin straight off. And we're just measuring these discs 1.4, 1.37, so these are well below the minimum 1.55 stated on the disc. Just a quick clean up of this area where we've got access to it. To use these bottle brushes, I've got a set of them here, they're fantastic for this. The bearings while we're here, they feel fantastic in here, so no play, no roughness in there. And again, this side feels great. Got a new rotor going on. Carefully, we've got grease on your gloves that we're not contaminating the new rotor. Just hold it by the centre. Drop that on. Spin your lock ring back on. Dead easy. Just to keep all the torque people happy, here's a 40 Newton meters. There we go, perfect. And just pull off your safety retaining clip. 2.5mm, just spin out the pin. You can tell our service this last because there's anti-seize on this pin. Just push the pads through. Seen better days, obviously, so we're putting new rotors on, so new pads go on, and then we bed them in on the Sinter brake bedding in machine. There's a video top corner if you haven't seen that one already. Brilliant bit of kit. Pad wise, we're going with EBC sintered. I'm really big fan of these EBC pads, to be fair. We've used them on a lot of things and they're always very nice, positive bite. So suffix HH is sintered metal compound. Obviously a little bit on the noisy side, but performance wise there's no comparison. Just clean the caliper. Okay, so that's clean, so we'll just drop in the new pads now. There we go. The refit the pin. Don't go crazy on these, please. They are just a retaining pin. The torque, I think, is something like 2 Newton meters, which is sort of that. Just make sure you refit the safety clip. I can't say, honestly, I can't say in all my time working on bikes, I've never seen a pin fall out of any description. Cotter pin, screwed in, anything pin. It's normally the complete opposite with the seize into the actual caliper itself, but something needs to be in there. Bit of grease on the through axle before we refit. And just refit. Squeeze the front lever to get the pads just to settle in. Already feels a lot better there. No sponginess, that's great. Need a little bit of centering. Just moving on to the back now. Obviously, AXS, beautiful shifting. Drop it down to the smallest sprocket and whip the wheel out. Just the same on the back wheel, just pull the retaining pin off. Drop this pin out. Again, just use the pad tool just to push the pistons back in carefully. Not much left on these. Again, new rotor fitted, bearings are great on this wheel also. Just chuck the wheel back in. Okay, so we're just going to bed these brakes in on the Sinter machine. You've probably seen this in a couple of my other videos, or I've got a special video coming out with a review purely on this, but it takes a couple of minutes, it's quite noisy, so let's just crack on with this. Just going to pull these cranks so we can change over the chainring unit. There's a lock ring on the back that we need to get off, so I'm using an 8mm socket on an air tool here. There we go. So to swap these chainrings over, all it is 8 T20 bolts that need unscrewing on this one, which is pretty straightforward. They should only be at 4 Newton meters as well, so they shouldn't be particularly tight. If they're all loose, just take your time, because the last thing you want to do in the world is ram one of these bolts out. It'd be a bit of a nightmare to get that out. Okay, so that's all those removed, and then the rings just lift off here. So obviously give it a clean up while we've got it off. Just make sure there's a light covering of grease around here, because this can be a source of sort of creaks and clicks, so just a very light covering. And obviously the new one is just a reversal of this, so make sure your pin here sits behind the crank arm, so we're going to go on obviously this way here. You can see that pin sitting in there now. Just refit the bolts. I'm going to fit just a drop of Loctite on all these bolts first, and then we'll get them fitted and torqued up. It's nice when they've got a lock ring. Sometimes you use a special tool here to get them off. It's a bit quicker than doing it tediously like this, but it's It's super easy anyway, so like I say, just take your time. Just go nice and slow at the moment. We're not trying to talk at the moment. I've got Loctite on here. And just try and do the opposite ones when you get them in. I don't think it makes a huge difference when we're going back to the olden days when you're talking down car head gaskets and it's a specific order, so you're not warping it. I mean, at 4 Newton meters, you're going to do well to warp anything, to be fair. But hey, it's best practice. What do you guys do? Let me know in the comments. Do you bother with the sequences? Or you just tighten them up good and tight? Customer's gone from a 46.33 to a 48.35. It's only a little bit of difference, but I guess it makes all the difference in the hills, just an extra couple of teeth. Obviously the front derailleur is going to need a very small adjustment as well to accommodate that. It may work fine as it is, but we'll try it anyway, obviously. The gears itself on this bike are working perfectly. Ram AXS, I mean, I'm not a massive Ram fan, but this system does work extremely well. Even on this bike that's had some crash damage, the derailleurs took a pretty hefty whack on the back and it still shifts absolutely perfectly. It's pretty impressive stuff, to be fair. I think Shimano are getting there. They've gone semi-wireless now, but there's still cables in the frame from the derailleurs to the battery. Once they've gone, I think it'll be a level playing field really for SRAM and Shimano. A couple of the Chinese brands, L2 and stuff, I think they're coming out with some quite decent stuff now, very competitively priced. There's a lot of reviews on the internet with this stuff, and I'm quite impressed with it, to be fair. I'd like to see some of it in action. There's a cost difference is huge, really huge difference in price. Like a fifth of the price, I think, or something ridiculous. Anyway, they're all in now, so let's just loosely hand tighten these, and then we're going to get a torque wrench for. I'm going to try and do 4 Newton meters, but it's so low. Okay, so we've got our T20 Torx bit, and we're set to 4 Newton meters on the torque wrench, so this is so not tight, it's really, I mean, that's it. I think that's it. Just check. Doesn't seem tight enough to me, but I guess these engineers know what they're doing when they design it with the materials. Obviously it's carbon arm, but it's going into an alloy insert. And we've got Loctite on there as well. Okay, so that's done. Before we refit that, we're just going to back off this adjuster here. Takes up any slack in the bottom bracket. Be very careful, these bolts are so soft, it's crazy. Just unscrew it until it stops at the crank arm. That's backed off. I think we'll pull this out and just clean her up anyway. There we go. Just going to check these bearings while we're in here. I think I did these fairly recently, so yeah, they feel great. Perfect. I'm just going to clean around this area while we've got access to it. Just put some grease on there. We're using Shimano grease on this ram crank. Just why not? And just reinsert. Obviously this lock ring is backed all the way off now. It's easy enough. Gently, very gently rest your chain down on the bottom bracket shell and get these cranks started. Obviously make sure they're lined up opposite, and use an Allen key just to start this threading. Once they get going, they're easy. Okay, that's on. Then get your chain on before you do anything else, otherwise you risk trapping it in there. Okay, just tighten this up. Okay, so we need 54 Newton meters here. We're going to do this on the ground, but it's very difficult to torque anything in the air at such a high level. So just tighten up this adjuster until there's no slack left in the system. Just don't force it, just when it stops, it stops. Like that is fine. And then tighten up the 2.5mm bolt that's on there without stripping it. Just gently tighten the bolt up, go easy with it. Doesn't need to be any more than nipped up. That's fine. Okay. I'm just going to check the chain wear. This is SRAM's recommended tool for flat top chains. So you hook this in there, hook it in there, squeeze this little section here, and see if we can go in. We're not quite down there yet, so this chain's got a little bit of life left in there. If this was bottomed out to the bottom like this, obviously it's new chain time. But this one's got a bit of life left yet, so I already checked the gears when the bike came in, but I'll just go through them now quickly just to show you the performance of these things. So we'll start down the bottom and we just click up. And then down. Lovely. So keep your finger on the bottom. All the way to the top. This is in big, which you obviously shouldn't be, and you can drop this down on the front derailleur with a small button here. Pops it down. Okay, so we're fouling on this chain set now because we've put this bigger ring on, so let's just tweak that up. Okay, so I just adjusted the height on the braids on screw there, and we've set here to 1 to 3 millimeters, so looking really good there now. So we go back to changing the gears. Nice. Perfect. Okay, so we are going to change the bar tape. I think I'm going to go with this Onikai AliExpress one. It's the silicone version tape. If you've seen the video, it's in top corner there. And it came out really well, to be fair. It's a really nice tape. Super stretchy and super comfortable. So I think it's going to go quite nicely on here. It's a very comfortable tape and very stretchy as well. So I think it'll blend quite nicely with the pattern on the shifter hoods as well. Let's try this. So that's pretty much done for this one. I say I only really came in for brake replacement and the chain set to be swapped over. Obviously the bar tape's been done. Gears we don't need to do anything with, there's no cables, etc. We know the chain's in spec, the drivetrain is nice and clean, indexing perfectly, so we don't need to do anything with that. Bottom bracket feels good, all the wheel bearings feel fantastic, headset feels great. Like I say, I've seen this bike many times before, so I do know its history and what sort of servicing it's had and not had. So that's pretty much done really, to be fair. Just a quick final wipe down and polish. And I think I'm just going to have a quick tweak of that back brake off camera. Still got a tiny bit of a rub, but I'll just crack on with that now. So hope you enjoyed that. We do get some nice bikes through the workshop. We've got a nice Trek in there at the moment, waiting to be changed over from tubeless to TPU tubes. Customers had enough of tubeless, and we're going to go to TPU to make it basic maintenance free. So I'm also doing a review coming up shortly on various different TPU tubes. I think I've got 8 or 9 different ones, all from AliExpress, so that could be quite interesting. So let me know anything else you want to see in the comments. Like and subscribe, all that great stuff. It really does help the channel. Just recently hit 100 subscribers, which is tiny milestone, but you know, Rome wasn't built in a day and all that. Just hit that subscribe button, please. It really does make a massive difference. I look at every single one that pings up at the moment. It makes me so happy. And just keep watching. Thank you very much.